The man picked up a stone and hurled it at the coconut. The coconut didn't crack, but the stone shattered first. Chuck looked at the sharp stone shard in his hand. He used it to slice open the coconut's husk and peeled it away. Then he smashed the coconut against a rock, but all the coconut water spilled out. The second time, Chuck used the sharp stone to poke a hole in the top of the coconut. Finally, he drank the delicious coconut water. After finishing, he packed the coconut shell into a bag. He ventured inland, searching for fresh water, but before long, his feet were covered in cuts. So he used the stone shard to cut up cloth, tied it with rope, and made himself a pair of simple cloth shoes. Then he climbed to the top of a hill to survey the island's terrain. Looking around, he spotted a person floating in the sea. Chuck rushed into the water and dragged the body ashore. He checked the man's ID and realized it was the pilot of the plane he had been on. Chuck took off the man's shoes, modified them, and wore them himself. He also found a still-functional flashlight. Finally, he buried the man's body and carved a tombstone from a rock. Since drinking wild coconut water often gave him diarrhea, he resorted to collecting dew on coconut shells for drinking water. After this, Chuck began unpacking the delivery parcels he had collected from the shore. Inside were ice skates, cassette tapes, a dress, divorce papers, and a volleyball. He was about to open the last package but hesitated and set it aside, keeping it as a symbol of hope for survival. He used the ice skates to sharpen a wooden stick into a fishing tool, but faced with raw meat, he hesitated. So he decided to try rubbing sticks to make fire. Yet his hands blistered, and no flame appeared. He switched to a different fire-starting method but accidentally cut his hand. Furious, Chuck threw the volleyball in frustration. Then he picked it back up and drew a face on it. Now, the volleyball had become his emotional companion. Patiently, he continued trying to make fire. This time, the tinder finally began to smoke. Through relentless effort, he finally ignited a flame. Staring at the fire he had created, Chuck danced excitedly. Eating roasted crab meat, he felt immense satisfaction. With food secured, he now felt the loneliness of isolation. So he named the volleyball and talked to it every day. One day, Chuck suffered unbearable tooth pain, but he had no way to pull the rotten tooth. So he pressed the ice skate against it and struck the blade's end with a rock. Amid the pain, he solved the problem.